Hi guys, today I'm making a stir fry with some carrot and some tofu together with these beans. You guys know what these are? These are almost like French beans or our normal green beans, but they're flatter and slightly thicker as well. And this is how it looks like. Okay, now when I was young, I hardly saw these beans. I don't know, hardly saw these beans growing up. But these days you find them quite often, especially in the supermarkets and so on, or even in farmers markets. Yeah, I've seen them as well. Other names for these beans, well, they're called Italian beans, Italian green beans, or you can also say Romano beans or Helda beans. So these are the beans I'm going to cook today, and like normal green beans, the nutrition value is about the same. Okay guys, so you could also string these beans, but they are not as fibrous as regular green beans. So you take it out, you take out the string, you don't have much of the string that comes out. Like normal green beans, you have, like, you can string out quite a lot, right? This one is not as fibrous, so you don't have much to string, but you can string it, and you can also top and tail it just like you would normal green beans, and cut it any way you like, slice it any way you like, and also basically cook it in any way that you would cook normal green beans. So I'm going to cut them like these, okay? Because I like a little bit of crunch. These beans are slightly sweeter than green beans, guys. I don't know whether you realize that. It's slightly sweeter. I don't know, I find that they're a little bit sweeter. So I like biting into a little bit of, having a crunch as I bite. So that's how I'm cutting them. These are the flat beans, guys. I've cut them, sliced them actually. And then here I have like about one small piece of tofu that I've cut up like this. Okay. And then these are the other ingredients. About half a carrot that I've julienned like this. And then a little bit of green chilies. I would have preferred red chilies, but I couldn't find them. So I've just sliced some green chilies like this. A little bit of ginger if you want, because it would give a slightly different flavor. I wanted a little bit of that ginger flavor. A small medium-sized onion that I've sliced. This is about 2 garlic cloves, large garlic cloves that I've chopped. Other ingredients would be some coconut milk. This is some cumin seeds and a little bit of turmeric powder. This is optional. I wanted that Indian touch to it, so it's going to have some turmeric powder. Turmeric powder together with coconut milk always has a nice, it just tastes very nice. And as for this, guys, the cumin seeds. So guys, the usual spices that I use to temper, for the tempering of basic Indian stir fries or Indian stir fried vegetables, is basically a combination of split urad dal, some mustard seeds, as well as cumin seeds. So I have a combination and in a certain proportion that I usually use. And I bought the spices, but I haven't roasted them for her to put in a bottle. So today, because of that, today I'm just going to use cumin seeds just so that it's easier. But you guys can use your usual, for those of you who are Indian, you can use your usual talipa spices. And talipa is like tadka in Hindi, and tempered spices in English. So guys, I'll show you how it looks like in here once I put a few things in, because as I mentioned earlier, I don't have my tripod and so on, so this will have to do for the length of time that I'm here. Okay, so into some hot oil. Already put some oil in here. Into some hot oil goes about a teaspoon. I'm going to eyeball it. About a teaspoon of cumin seeds, and then let that crackle and pop like it normally does. The popping usually happens with mustard seeds, but this will also sort of make some sounds as as each seed starts to expand and the air inside kind of pops. Okay guys, it's nice and brown, not much crackling. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the garlic and the onions together, and the ginger. Okay, the garlic, onions and ginger, and I'm just going to saute that. Okay, we'll turn up the heat a little bit. Sometimes I fry the tofu and then I put it in, But today I want the tofu to not be so hard because I want it to sort of, I want the dish to have a little bit of gravy because there's not much gravy to what I'm cooking today. So I'm going to put the tofu once I've already added the vegetables. And or maybe I'll put it right after the onions, but I'm not going to fry it because I want it to be a little bit soft as well. I managed to get some tofu in Cole's restaurant, supermarket. Yeah, nice and brown. I'm going to put in the chilies as well as the tofu. I'm going to be a bit careful with the tofu, so I don't want them to break. So just gently stir fry this, just a little bit. You can put it later if you want it really, with no, with the tops not hard. This will be slightly sort of searing the whole, each square of the tofu, and searing it a little bit so that it won't break up so easily. But this is quite firm, this tofu that I bought. Okay, just letting it sear a little bit like that. Now I'll put in the carrots. Okay, as well as, let me just give this a stir. Stir gently, guys, so the tofu doesn't break. I want the tofu to look nice and rectangular in shape. Okay, I'm going to put in some turmeric powder, just about a 1/4 teaspoon, and some salt. Give this a bit of a stir, and now quickly add some water, just a little bit of water, so that the harder vegetables cook a little, the carrots especially. And now when the liquid is a little like dilute, when the liquid has evaporated a little bit, I will add the flat beans. So as for the coconut milk, I always like to put it in a bowl, especially if it comes from a carton. Just a little bit, that much, and mix it with a bit of water, and mix it up nicely so that you don't form lumps in the vegetable or in the dish. So now, guys, I'm going to add the flat beans or the Romano beans and give it a stir. Very simple stir-fried dishes, guys. These simple stir-fried dishes can be done so easily, and you get to eat something healthy at home. Don't underestimate simple food like these. They're healthy, good for you, provide so much of good nutrition, as well as so easy to do. Now a little bit more water. I'm just going to add a little bit of water, guys, and I'm going to close this for a few minutes so it cooks in the steam. And then I'm going to add the coconut milk. If you take a bit of Romano beans or this flat beans, and you take it when it's half cooked, you realize that it's quite sweet when you bite into it. I just did, and nice and sweet. You can add, the addition of coconut milk is subjective. You can add how much you want. You don't have to add coconut milk. Indian vegetables sometimes will have a bit of coconut milk, and I think even Malay dishes, they have like masak lemak, right? So I'm going to add a little bit of coconut milk, and then I've added some water to this, clean water, because you're going to add it right at the end. It's not really going to boil or anything. So I want a little bit of gravy today because we don't have much gravy. So I'm just going to add a little bit extra liquid. Okay, so you do as you want to. So guys, taking off the lid, and I'm going to pour in the coconut milk. Okay, as you can see, there's quite a lot of liquid because I wanted it with some liquid in it today because we don't have much liquid. Doing this with one hand is not easy. Basically, just give it a bit of a stir. Don't let it cook too much because you don't want the coconut milk to start curdling, and then you can plate it. I'm going to plate this dish now. It's all cooked already, by the way. Okay, that's how it looks like. Okay, and I'm going to plate this. Very careful not to spill too much of turmeric, this coconut milk with turmeric here, because everything will start to stain, and you're renting this place. You need to be careful. Here you go, guys. All done. Flat beans or Romano beans cooked with tofu and carrots. Here's Shakila Shanmugam signing off. Bye, everyone.